All right, so here in America, big luxury SUVs are a really big deal. You have the Cadillac Escalade, which is arguably one of the hottest selling big SUVs in America. Then you have the Lincoln Navigator, and you're also gonna have the Lexus LX570, and then you have this. This is the Infiniti QX80, and this is one of the coolest big SUVs if you're looking for something that's a little bit old school but still has that luxurious flair. Let's go ahead and check this thing out. All right, so here is the Infiniti QX80. This is a really good looking SUV, if I'm being honest with you guys. I love the update that they made about a year ago. I think it looks fantastic. Love the updated grille, love the updated headlights. It really actually makes this SUV look not as dated as it really is. I mean, this thing has been around for a long time, basically since around like 2008, 2009. And this thing is just a beast. So if you love big, massive SUVs, if you love vehicles like, let's say, the Toyota Land Cruiser, LX570, everything I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you're gonna love this SUV. It really has that same essence of being old school, but luxurious and just big and intimidating all at the same time. Now, coming to the grille of the QX80. Now, first of all, we've got this massive grille, and it really makes this thing look super dominant on the road. It really does. Now, coming to the headlights, you are going to have full LED lights on this vehicle. So you have your LED daytime running lights, which do look fantastic during the day. Then you are going to have LED low beams, high beams, your turn signals are going to be LEDs, and your fog lights are going to be LEDs as well. Really gives this big SUV a great night presence. Looks fantastic when you see it rolling anywhere at night. Then as you come down, you just have a little bit more openings to feed the giant V8 that sits behind this thing. Then underneath, you're gonna have a little bit of a metal skid plate, if you will. Let's get a little bit closer here. I think it's probably just, yeah, like silver painted plastic. So not real metal, but you do have that there, and I think it really does add a nice look to the car. Then as you come up, you are going to have your hood, which is real simplistic. You got a few faint lines that are gonna go down it, so when this thing is real cleaned up, you can see those lines a lot clearer, and it does add to that aggression that this vehicle has. Now, coming off to the side, you are going to have this vent here. Now, I'm not really sure if it's functional, so looking at it right now, it does look like it is functional. I can see through it. It doesn't look like there's any pieces there that look like they're not functional. So that does feel like a functional piece. And you have your 5.6 badge right there for the 5.6 liter V8 that's under the hood. Now, coming to these wheels, you've got these big, beautiful blacked out wheels, and these are going to be 22-inch wheels. These are massive rims, and the cool part is that if you look really closely at them, you can see the slightly lighter pieces right here, and then your dark black pieces right there. It's a really good looking wheel. I love the way it looks. As you come to the side, you've got your step here to get into the QX80 because it is pretty high. And at night, the cool thing is you have a light under the mirror that's going to illuminate onto the ground, and it says Infiniti, and it has this really nice, almost like welcome mat, if you will. Now, coming to the side profile, love this side profile. Like I said, I'm really in love with the way this SUV looks. It's just a fantastic looking thing. You've got chrome coming all the way around the outside here. Love the silver door handles. Love these lines right here in the back. Really makes the rear end of this car look a lot better. Then as you move to the quarter panel view here in the back, you are going to have your lights right here, which are going to be LEDs in the back. Once again, they look great at night. Love the design that they updated right here. Infiniti logo there in the back. This is kind of random, but you have an interesting shaped piece of glass back here. You have the way it kind of flows like that instead of just being a square piece. Maybe it's a design element. Either way, I think it looks pretty cool. massive, basically scratch plate back here, so you don't scratch things getting into the trunk. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the exterior look of the QX80. If I didn't mention it already, this is the limited trim. So this is the top of the line trim of the QX80, and this is priced right around $91,000. I have the MSRP here on the screen, so you guys can decide for yourselves if you think that's worth the price. All right, so here is your key for the Infiniti QX80. If this looks familiar, it's because it's literally been the key for Infiniti since like 2008. So this key has been around for a very, very long time. This one has your remote start, your lock, your unlock, your hatch release, and then your panic, and then your Infiniti symbol there at the top. You also have a little latch here. You pull that, and you have a physical key that's gonna come out to get into the vehicle if the battery on this dies or if the battery on the car were to die. Other than that, you have buttons here on the door. You push that, that's going to lock it, and then you push it again to unlock it. Real simple. All right, so once you're inside the QX80, now you are going to have a good use of material. So you're gonna have leather on the entire door. So you have stitched leather all up here. You have white stitched leather below that, and then you of course have leather stitched area for your arm to rest on. All of your controls are going to be right down here. So window controls, window locks, door locks, mirror controls right here, and this is to fold in your mirrors as well. Chrome door handle right there. You are going to have a little bit of this wood here, which looks pretty good. 2 settings for your memory seats, and you've got this grab handle here, which has some stitching going along as well, and it is just a really sturdy piece right there. It's really nice. Then as you come down, you're gonna have a little bit of storage space right there. You have an Infiniti kick plate that is going to illuminate at night. You guys can see that right there. You have QX80 branded floor mats. Now the interesting thing about these floor mats is that this piece, that's actually metal right there. So that's interesting that they put that on something you're going to be putting your foot on most of the time, but it is cool that it has that there. Seat controls are pretty on the basic side. So you guys can see here, and then your lumbar right there. Now the seats themselves are just crazy plush. You guys can see there, I'm barely putting any pressure on these seats, and it just gives like no one's business. It seriously feels like you're sitting on your couch in the living room. It's pretty impressive. You have perforations here, black leather here with white stitching, and then you're gonna have some Alcantara right on top of that, if you guys can see that right there. And you're also gonna have some more of that Alcantara right here in the middle, more white stitching, and then more perforations as you go along the seat with your limited embossed there in the middle. And yeah, it's just an overall really comfortable seat design, especially when you take this thing on a long trip. Let's go ahead and hop in and we'll check out the rest. All right, so shutting the door on the QX80. Pretty solid door shut. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the mirror kind of shook a little bit right there. Let's see. Just a little bit. Not a big deal, just something I noticed. Now here's the interior before I start everything up. Very spacious interior. Start button is right here. Foot in the brake. Push that to start. Nice. Now there is a little bit of me that kind of likes that old school style Infiniti, because for me, everything in here reminds me of when I loved Infiniti the most, back when they were still making the, you know, the G37 and all that good stuff. So I think this is like good vibes in here. I really dig it. Not saying that Infiniti is awful now, it's just that this was when they were making some of my favorite vehicles. Now, starting here on the steering wheel, you have a really smooth steering wheel design, like the smoothest leather I've ever felt, like no joke. It doesn't even have any sort of like creases or anything in it. It's just smooth leather. You've got stitching coming right here. You've got this sort of plasticky, made to look like metal area here. This actually kind of reminds me of something out of like the old Nissan Maxima. And then you have all of your switches here for media. This is to control this little screen here in the middle. I'll show you that in just a second. And now your cruise control over here to the right. But you do have smooth leather here, some stitching coming right there. Of course, your Infiniti logo there in the middle. And the other thing is, as you come down here, you are going to have some more buttons here. Not sure if you guys can see them, but you have your trunk release, you have your heated steering wheel, and then your button for all of your safety systems to turn that on and off, basically. You're also going to have your interior illumination down there. And of course you have these vents, which even the vents look a little old school, but I do like how this wood meets together whenever you shut the door. This is going to be your light for your blind spot monitor, and then you have a little Bose tweeter right there. Then as you come on the dash, you have, of course, a leather stitched dash with some stitching. You guys can see that stitching right there. You are going to have Alcantara on the entire roof, so lining the entire headliner. You guys can see that looks really good. Leather stitched grab handle here with some stitching, so that's pretty high quality right there. Feels really sturdy. And then you have a Bose speaker here in the middle, and then the rest of the dash, you guys can see more of that wood coming right there. And that's going to go all the way across back into the door, just like it does over here, but a little bit more of an elegant design on the passenger side, because you of course don't have your center area to look at your speed and all that good stuff. Then as you come to the screen, very small screen. Here's my fist, so it's almost the size of my fist. It's pretty small, and you are going to have pretty basic stuff. This is, you know, the same setup that Infiniti has had for years in this car. Has not changed one bit. Vents right here. As you come down, you're going to have more buttons to control everything right there. Hazards, a little bit more wood, a little bit of metallic trim there. Then as you come down, you have your old school clock right here. Of course, more buttons to control the screen up there. Volume is going to be there. Push that to turn on and off your volume. Tune right over here. Presets, CD player, so you can still kick it optical if you like to listen to CDs. And then you do have dual zone climate control right down here. So if you guys can see that, you're going to have your two knobs there for your dual zone climate control. And then of course all of your zones, AC, fan speed, things like that. Let me move this shifter back so you guys can see this down here, but you are going to have, let me brighten it up, an area here for heated and cooled seats. So for your heated seats, you just turn that dial to the right. Cooled seats, turn it to the left. And then this is going to be to fold down the back seat. So if I push these buttons, that is going to fold down your seat in like a very aggressive way. Just imagine doing that if someone was sitting there. This is pretty hilarious. And then you have two USB ports. You're gonna have a 12 volt right there. And then as you come right back here to the center area, you are going to have your shifter here, of course. It is pretty nice. It has the Infiniti logo right there in this dark piano black, some silver surrounding that, and you have some white stitching and that really incredible leather quality going all around that. Leather shift boot with some stitching as well. Throw it into reverse, you got your backup camera which comes up. I'm actually surprised to see that it has a 360-degree camera. However, where it chops in the lines is very obvious. They don't try to hide it at all, so you can see all the 4 different cameras that are cropping together the images right there. And then you have this super low grade resolution camera right there. Put it into park, of course, that goes away. This is a 7-speed auto. Lots and lots of that wood here. You lift that open, you have your cup holders, a little bit of extra storage space there, a little bit of extra storage space here, and then you have this to put it into 4 high, 4 low, snow mode, traction control, and then you have tow mode right there. Now coming to the armrest right here, you guys can see all this like ribbed pattern here. It looks really interesting and it feels great when you rest your arm on it. Great quality leather, of course, and then you have stitching there, some like white piping coming there. It's absolutely massive. I can fit like 1, 2, like 3 of my arms on here. So I can put my arm here, this person can put their arm there, and someone else can throw their arm in the middle. It's just pretty insane. Lift that up, you have tons and tons of storage space in there. So pretty deep, and of course I love the fact that it's all lined in felt, because that means you won't hear things rattling around inside of there. You do have a lockable glove box right here, which is nice, pretty large. Then as you come to the mirror, here is probably the coolest piece of tech in this car. So you pull this back, and there you go. You have your camera in the very back. So if you ever fill up this vehicle and you cannot see out of the back right there, that's when this guy is going to come in handy. Or if you're driving at night and you just don't want to rely on your mirror, you can use this. You could even go in and adjust things like your brightness. You can move the camera up and down itself. can rotate it. For some reason you want to rotate it like that. And then you can turn on and off indications, dim the mirror, languages, things like that. And then of course you have your home link right underneath there, and it even shows you on there. So that's pretty cool. Then as you push this, little bit of area, space there to put your sunglasses. It has nice carpeting in there, so it's not going to scratch your sunglasses. And then you have your lights here, which are going to be LEDs. So you guys can see that nice, crisp, bright LED right there. Sunroof, I do have it tilted right now because it's very hot and I'm trying to let out as much heat as possible. And then you do have your vanity mirror here, which does have your light. Unfortunately, it's not an LED, but at least you still have one. So that's pretty much gonna wrap up the front seats. Go ahead and hop in the back seat and we'll check out the room. All right, so getting into the second row of the Infiniti QX80. Now, first of all, you have this really cool grab handle here. It's wrapped in leather and stitched, which is really cool. Now, once again, this is a limited trim. So once you hop back here, you are gonna have some screens behind the headrest. You have 2 map pockets. You're also gonna have cup holders right in here. You know, pretty standard stuff. So the few things that I do like about the back seat, I like this same wood design that you have in the front. The armrest right here is really nice. It has that sort of same, I guess, like ribbed pattern right here in the leather, which feels really great. And you lift this up and you have a really, really deep amount of storage space. And you're also gonna have 2 sets of headphones right back here, as well as your remote to control the screens. Now, if you look down here, you are going to have your heated seats. So you have 2 settings, high and low, for both passengers here in the rear. Of course, an area to control the fan speed and the temperature back here. And you're gonna have your imports right there for your headphones. So the other thing is that you do have USB, so you have one there and one down here, though they are very far down, so if you don't have a long enough cord, it can be kind of annoying, so I highly suggest you getting a long cord if you're gonna plug in your USB devices back here. Of course, map pockets here, you're gonna have your vents here, you're gonna have your arm handle here, which also has perforated leather on it as well, which is nice. You're gonna have a hook here for dry cleaning, and then the seats themselves are really, really comfortable. They feel great, feel fantastic. Now you can recline the seats as well. They have a handle here on the side, so if I pull that handle, that's about how far back I can go, and then I pull the handle again and that will lift me up right there. Now, as far as moving the seat forward, it doesn't look like I have any adjustments here to move my seats forward. They are basically set in their positions, which is either a good or a bad thing. For some people, it may be more of a bad thing. And for the most part, headroom is great. 6 feet tall in this really upright position with my big hair. I've got like 3.5 inches of headroom. And then my feet room is great. I can slide my feet underneath here perfectly. And the front seat is also set to my driving position. And I still have, man, at least 5 inches of knee room. It's very, very roomy and very comfortable back here. So let's go ahead and hop in the third row and see how comfortable it is back there. All right, so here in the back seat of the Infiniti QX80, let's go ahead and pull the seat back. Gonna lock it in like that. That's like the most satisfying sound I've ever heard. And then you pull this seat up, just like that. And there we go. So if the person in front of me didn't want to sit completely upright and we leaned it back just a bit, I have about 1.5 inches of knee room back here, which is pretty decent. You know, being 6 feet tall, the fact that I can even fit back here is pretty good. My headroom isn't terrible. If I slouch a little bit, I have like 1/2 inch above my head, which is, once again, pretty good for 6 foot tall person sitting here in the back. The only reason I keep reiterating my height is just so that you guys know, have a good comparison, I guess, for other people that were to sit here. Now, you can have a button here, or you do have a button here that you push that and that will basically recline my seat for me. I can also go backwards. It doesn't do it by much. You probably have about maybe 1/2 foot of distance that you go, if that. So not very comfortable. And then the headrest doesn't go up any higher than this. So the bottom part of it is sort of like digging into the top part of my back right here. So that's a little interesting. Other than that, you've got 2 cup holders on each side. You don't have USB ports. You do have your own vents back here, and then you're gonna have your third seat belt right here in the middle. Pretty much it. There's no USB ports back here. There's no 12 volt or anything to speak of. And yeah, it's pretty much just to transport someone and have an area to put some water so they don't dehydrate here in the back. That's pretty much all it is. Let's go ahead and check out the trunk space. All right, so coming in the back of the Infiniti QX80. Now, first of all, when this gate lifts up, it's very, very tall. So I'm 6 feet tall and I have about a solid 2.5 inches above me until I'm hitting the gate right here. So if you are very tall, getting in and out is not an issue. And then of course you can adjust the height on this as well. Now, you do have a little bit of storage space back here, nothing too crazy. You can definitely fit maybe 1 or 2 small suitcases back here. And then you're gonna lift this up. You have this Infiniti sort of, I guess, all-weather mat right here. And then underneath that, you're gonna have your floor, which you're gonna lift up. A little bit of extra storage space under there. And then you're gonna have your jack and everything underneath that area. Now, you can fold these seats down. The way you're gonna do that is you're gonna push these buttons right here. They are gonna fold down a little on the slow side. That is the downside of having electronic seats. And yeah, so as you guys can see, still taking a little bit. It doesn't just fold down, which I really wish you were able to do. But once everything's folded down, you have obviously an incredible amount of space that you can put things in. And then the second row does fold down as well, so that is very helpful. You have a 12-volt right back here, and of course, tethers to put nets, so that way if you don't want your things rolling around, you can put your nets back here as well. That's pretty much it for this area. You do have 2 scratch plates right here, so you're gonna have a plate right here, plate here, and here, so I guess technically that's 3. And it just keeps it from scratching up the paint right here, scratching up the plastic. That way you don't have gross looking chipped plastic right here. It just keeps everything looking nice. So let's go ahead and see what's under the hood of this thing. All right, so coming under the hood of the Infiniti QX80, you have a 5.6 liter naturally aspirated V8 that's been in this car basically since it came out. Now, this is gonna make 400 horsepower, 416 pound-feet of torque. And the crazy part is that for a naturally aspirated engine, especially a V8, it's very rare that you see this make more torque than it does horsepower, but this does exactly that. Now, this is mated to a 7-speed automatic transmission. This is also all-wheel drive. And here are the fuel economy specs if you guys want to take a look at that. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the road and see how it drives. All right, so driving the Infiniti QX80, and this thing is a tank. It is so big. And if you love that real big, just dominant feel on the road, I mean, this is definitely one of the vehicles to get. It's even more of a tank feeling than you get in something like a Cadillac Escalade. This feels more like you're driving like a Toyota Land Cruiser, or like you're driving the LX570, which is basically the same thing. But it has that real solid, just like it's not gonna break feel to it. And that is one of the best things about driving this vehicle. It really, really is. The other cool thing is that it rides very, very smooth. Rides very smooth. Now, if you guys saw my previous review over the Kia K900, I actually did a sound decibel comparison between the two, and this was actually a little bit louder than the Kia. Not by much, like literally by like 1 or 2 full decibels. But either way, it's still quiet in here. The best thing though, other than the driving experience, is these seats. Literally feels like you're sitting on the couch in your living room. It is incredibly comfortable. And it's just great, I can imagine, on long trips, even going down this bumpy road. Soaks up the bumps well. And because the seats on here are so soft and so plush, it just absorbs a lot of imperfections you would feel from the road. So right now, I can feel the car's moving around. I can feel everything sort of undulating underneath me. But it's not really translating to me personally. Everything still feels pretty like steady here in the cabin, which is nice. I don't ever have to like really raise my voice when I'm talking. And you know, it's just a real nice place to be. And even though it has a very, very old school feel, even though the infotainment is just garbage, even though these buttons look like they're straight out of an older Maxima, and you know, the only digital screen here in the dash is just black and white, it just has that really old school, solid luxury feel. And there's a lot of people that love that. There's a lot of people that don't care about having the up-to-date tech. There's a lot of people that don't care if it has the, you know, lane keep assist, which this does not have. It does have adaptive cruise, just doesn't have lane keep. And you know, they don't need the Apple CarPlay. They don't need all that stuff. They just want a comfortable place to be. They want that luxury essence, and you know, just a big dominant car to drive around and haul kids and stuff around. That's it. And that does this, and this does that very, very well. It's massive. You can fit a ton of people in here. It's got a pretty banging Bose sound system, so if you want to jam out to music, it's great. The steering wheel feel is great. The drive feel is good. The V8 has a good amount of torque, like I showed you guys earlier, 413 torque, 400 horsepower, and having that bigger torque number means that this thing just cruises. You just barely ease onto the throttle and you have all the power that you need to get this thing moving. Now, because it is a V8, when you do step on it, sounds pretty good. It doesn't kick down like most cars would, but I think they really geared this specifically to how people would drive this, because it never has that moment when I floor it and it just shoots up high in the RPMs. I floor it and it just gives me a little bit more than what I would usually ask for. So for example, I floor it, sounds good. It just kind of gradually increases. It doesn't ever just shoot up, you know, it's like 5,000 RPM and then just give me all this power. It's just very, very gradual, but it has a little bit more immediacy to it. And it's a great vehicle, really it is. And you know, like I said, it's not going to appeal to everyone. It's really just going to appeal to that older mindset when it comes to what you expect from a vehicle. If you expect higher tech, if you expect more things like that, then this vehicle is definitely not for you, especially at 91,000. A lot of people that want that high-end technology would have a very, very hard time justifying this. But for the people that love that old school feel that you just cannot get anymore, you know, paying $91,000 to them could be something like an investment. Kind of like when the people buy a Toyota Land Cruiser, or when they buy LX570. Those vehicles have that old school feel that you know isn't going to stay around for the next 5 to 10 years. It's just gonna eventually phase out, and this is going to be like the last breed of these vehicles that you can buy. And if you have the money, and if you feel like this is worth the investment, go for it. I think it looks fantastic on the outside. The outside of this vehicle, especially with the updates, are my favorite. I love this generation vehicle the best when it comes to looks on the outside. And the inside, to me, you know, it's just okay. But once again, I'm 26 years old, so to me this isn't the most appealing, but I can admit it's nice, it's beautiful. You have tons of, you know, glass around you, so visibility is once again fantastic. And yeah, it's just a great place to be. But that's pretty much going to conclude my review of the Infiniti QX80. Sorry if I rambled a little bit, but if you enjoyed this video and if you found this review helpful or informative, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe if you like cars. I post at least 1 to 2 videos a week, so I won't be blowing up your feed like crazy, but I will stay pretty consistent with the reviews. Thank you guys so much for your support. Also, be sure to look below this video. There's a link from Teespring, and that's where I put all my shirts up. So I have 2 shirt designs that I just updated, so be sure to check those out. You can click the link to browse. You don't have to buy anything, and then if you feel like you want to support the channel, I'd absolutely love for you to purchase one, and if you send me a picture of you in the shirt, I'll definitely post it on Instagram, so be sure to follow me there as well. Thank you guys, y'all take care, and I'll see you next review. Bye.